like you said Biden did. You said the NLRB made a new rule that would consider the Amazon quote unquote independent contractors, which are just like a charade, to be considered actual employees, such that they could have a union and have all the rights under the labor laws of the United States, except for the FTC, which is breaking up monopolies under Lina Khan and going after anti-competitive behavior, except the Democrats who are protecting the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau against attacks from Republicans, only in that, huge area of concern for you, which is like, I don't know, anti-competitive, monopolies, fucking labor, all of the issues that, according to you, are really, really important enough for you to get in a tizzy whenever Biden's nominees get intentionally scuttled by Biden himself. On that, they're going against the donors in a significant way. And so how can you possibly say on these issues of massive concern where Biden is being populist, where Biden is being pro-worker, that he's only in the pocket of the donors? That is complete bullshit.
Yep, and look at how the perspective and look at what's changed in terms of what's not being said, right? Remember before, the genocide in Gaza was like the most important thing. It was the defining issue. How much are we going to hear about about the criticism of people like Cenk for Trump on Gaza, right?
Disgusting. And to me,
right?
it indicates that they don't really care about it. I mean, that's what.
Of course,
they
never
bad.
cared about it. They never ever cared about it. They never care about it. Okay. Yeah, and then there was one other thing too, but yeah,
is that they're never going to give you what you want incrementally. Martin Luther King talked about the tranquilizing drug of gradualism. Oh, if we just go a little further with Joe Biden, he'll give us another crumble and another tiny increment. No, they're going to just pick a new and improved
Trump is going to bleed us fucking dry. Trump is going to stop us from having Social Security. He's going to cut our entitlements that we pay into. Trump is going to gut the FTC. Trump is going to end the CFPB. Forget about incremental steps forward. How about massive steps back on every level in terms of economic populism that you say that you support, in terms of corruption and fascism and democracy? How can you be worried about the little steps forward and not the fucking huge jump to the days of King?
He's speaking like Trump has even made promises to do any of the things he's talking about, right?
Well, wait a minute, Steve and Pisco, guys, come on. He just said that Steve Bannon recently said that they should increase corporate taxes, and you guys, you're not taking that into consideration. Just because Trump slashed corporate taxes the last time and promised to do something.
Bannon is a marginal figure at this point. Bannon is no one.
Yeah. So Steve Bannon matters less than Donald Trump? Yeah. No, I mean, obviously, it's fucking stupid. It's so insane. I'm
so funny that you libtards said Bannon was running the show before, and now when it's convenient, you're pretending that Bannon doesn't matter. Very convenient. Okay, Pisco.
Yeah, I mean, he was only fired like one day into the administration.
Gavin Newsom. And they're going to come out with a new script, Buttigieg or Gavin Newsom, and another tiny increment. No, they're going to just pick a new and improved corporate robot like Pete Buttigieg or Gavin Newsom.
And guess what? If they did, I would fucking
the table too. Jesus.
And if they did,
they hate him. They hate his guts.
Yeah, I know they have him.
If the Democrats did put up Pete Buttigieg or Gavin Newsom, I would fucking walk through nails to go vote for them because I'm a fucking patriot and I don't want to see this country go into fucking authoritarianism under MAGA because I'm not a fucking shill, sellout, MAGA loser, MAGA leftist like you, Cenk.
Out with a new script and they're going to say, I am now a populist, and they will wear flannel shirts and they'll go to barbecues.
Wait, I'm sorry, is he describing Donald Trump right now? Or are we supposed to, because that's Jesus.
And they'll pretend to eat ribs, and then they'll sneak out and go to French Laundry.
Like, imagine him saying, right, Joe Biden, who for however many years was literally like the poorest person in fucking Congress, okay? Like, that this is the guy who's the fake, down-to-earth person. But Elon Musk, who fucking spams Twitter with his cringe fucking videos of playing Diablo 4 and then getting banned for scripting. And he probably is another person. Like, these people aren't pretending. Like, seriously? My God.
He named his son like a robot name.
Yeah, actually, an actual robot name. Yeah, what the fuck? True.
Well, Cenk actually praised. What's interesting is like he's insulting the Democratic Party for things that he thinks might happen in the future about how they'll adopt a populist affectation or the common man affectation. But he praised Donald Trump repeatedly during this last campaign for like riding in a garbage truck and working a
And
shift
working
at
at
McDonald's. He's-
McDonald's.
True.
Oh
Right,
my
yeah, he said
God.
he said it's brilliant
This was
politics.
the brilliant thing.
Also,
Yeah,
to
it's
qualify,
brilliant,
the
it's
fake
genius.
shift. It was a fake shift at McDonald's, to be clear. All the customers were staged, right? That came out.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But I mean, like, Cenk was like, you can find the videos. Like, he was like, anyone who says that this is just like, cynical bullshit, blah, 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 they just don't understand. This is brilliant. This is brilliant messaging. This is a brilliant move by Donald Trump. And it just goes to show that he understands politics in ways that the Democrats simply don't. And then he's talking about how it would be fucked up and stupid of Democrats to do something similar in a hypothetical campaign in the future, which hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, but it
Holy
works. yeah.
shit. I just forgot something. Do you remember when for VP, Cenk Uygur endorsed Josh Shapiro instead of
Walls.
Balls.
Yeah, instead of Tim Walz. So when you had the opportunity, Cenk, to support what most people would consider the more populist candidate, that is Tim Walz, over Josh Shapiro. Listen, I think Josh Shapiro would have been base too. I think that Walz was a good pick too. I don't think that was the reason that they lost. But when you had the literal opportunity to do a costless decision to pick the more populist candidate, you pick Shapiro, and Shapiro is considered by most to be like the more establishment candidate than Walz.
Right. But he thought what's interesting is, I mean, it's a great point. He thought that Shapiro was, number one, populist enough, or at least not totally, like, not totally establishment. He like appeals to like populist things in Shapiro's past, but he said that Shapiro was also probably the safer choice, that Shapiro would have helped shore up, an electoral college victory. So that's actually a great point, which is that when it's convenient for Cenk, he's willing to, lean into the establishment or a more establishment figure if he thinks that it increases the chance of winning an election. But then he shits on, David Plouffe or Kamala Harris or Joe Biden or whatever for doing something similar. Like, I try to pin him down to a
This is
single.
astrology.
Yeah.
This is astrology. You're
It's
wasting
literally
time because you guys
astrology,
you're reading what Cenk is doing is he's doing the astrology predictions, and you're like, well, how is it consistent here that he said Sagittarius are all independent, but on Thursday he said that a Sagittarius was actually incredibly codependent? It's because it's bullshit, right? This is all bullshit. Somebody said, Destiny, how does this compare with your strategy used when you were approaching the red pillars? I mean, I was verbal about this when I was on stream, and you can see it when you go and watch my shows. My goal is to step into their frame of reference when I was doing this, so that I won't fight on every single point, but I will choose some things to stake out strong ground on, and I will try to fight on some points, and I'll try to at least provide the other perspective. Yeah, that was the whole goal. But maybe we've still got, we're going through this. Maybe Cenk will fight on other points. We'll see.
Right? So don't believe the corporate robots. Remember how many times they lied to you. We need to do a populist revolt and pick up.
Like, don't believe the corporate robots? So you know that when you say that, you're saying ignore the entire Republican Party. How do you say don't believe the corporate robots when the entire Trump cabinet and Trump and Elon are...
Is a corporate robot.
Okay, yeah.
Populist left-winger so we could have a real contest in this country. The establishment Democrats are never going to win. We need to go populist, and the way to do that is not by negotiating with them, it's by defeating them in a primary.
Is the Democrat grassroots, are they invigorated towards that end? Because it seemed as if they weren't obviously thrilled about Biden or Kamala Harris, but you could say
Biden got the most votes over it.
whatever you want about Bernie Sanders. I have massive worldview disagreements. He had a legitimate grassroots movement behind him of small dollar donors, of people that were working, of activists. Maybe I'm wrong, but it seems like that has disappeared a little bit in recent.
Notice again how when I'm bringing this up. So he very quickly got over this, right? Because Charlie's playing the game. He brings up Biden, very quick to signal to the audience, I don't agree with Biden or not Biden, I'm sorry. He brings up Bernie. But very quick to signal, I don't agree with Bernie on fucking anything. We have massive worldview differences. After Cenk has been saying like, oh, we've got all these similarities. We're so similar. Oh, the popular, we're so similar. And then he very quickly said, by the way, don't agree with fucking Bernie on fucking anything. But isn't it true that fuck Democrats, right? That's the only reason Bernie will ever come up for these guys. It's never to have any shared agreements. What were the biggest things? Three biggest things that Bernie was known for was what, like 15 an hour minimum wage, single payer healthcare, Green New Deal. How do you think that everybody here feels about those three policies, right? They would have a fucking revolt.
They would have
The other frustrating thing is like Kamala Harris broke records for small dollar donations, like the number of small dollar donors and like the composition of like her fundraising, like the amount contributed by small dollar donors, it blew Trump out of the water. And so it's like I don't know what the hell he's talking about. Like Charlie Kirk has seemed to imply like, that the Democrats are not funded by grassroots donors. It's just not true. Certainly more than the Republican Party. No. And I wonder if Cenk's going to correct him.
Recent years, or at least has gone to sleep. Am I correct in that? And what would it take to awaken that sleeping?
You're correct.
So there's a couple of different branches within.
Well, no, it's not that they've gone to sleep. It's that the corporate donor class is trying to shut them down.
Democratic Party and the left, but the two
There's
most
the max left.
The what?
There's the identitarian left. There's the
Max.
So
Establishment
there's a couple
left,
of different
and then there's
branches
the
within the
populist left.
Democratic Party and the left, but the two
Oh,
most,
my
the two most important ones are the populist progressive left. That's Bernie Sanders, and we could debate about progressive issues and policies on another day, right?
Yes, because it's always
Yes,
important to leave
another
all
day,
the
yeah.
disagreements, all the stuff that you actually care about. By the way, all the most
Yeah.
important things. But okay.
But then there's the establishment wing. So the populist wing is already there. That base that was there in 2016 and 2020 still exists. And remember, guys, and I say this to you and I say it to the left wing, Bernie won the first 3 states in 2020. He was this close to winning until Obama and Clyburn called in all the candidates.
He's right.
And said, you all have to bow to Joe Biden.
What's that clip?
And then
Do you remember that clip from? It's Kobe. Rest in peace, Kobe. Kobe. Oh, Kobe. What happened? But do you remember when Kobe's like, "What's there to celebrate about? Job finished? Job not finished?" The fucking primary isn't winning the first 3 most white states, which are most beneficial to Bernie. That's not the contest.
mainstream media then said Joe Biden is the greatest, and they started talking about how Bernie Sanders, the most successful Jewish
Oh, they're going to say how he's bringing up that one. Is it Scarborough? How they compare Bernie Sanders to Hitler.
candidate in American history,
Identity politics,
had,
Jewish.
followers who wore brown shirts and fascists and Nazis. Where have you heard that before?
Yeah,
So
you
whenever-
called Trump a fucking fascist. You said it.
You don't
Why
even
are
say
you talking?
that. Fucking Vance said that Trump could be America's next Hitler. JD Vance. So yeah.
Outsider, all of a sudden mainstream media says fascist, even if it's a Jewish candidate, right? So they use the same tricks. And you guys have been canceled. I've been
The
canceled.
same tricks. The same tricks. You literally called Trump a fascist, and you're calling it, quote, a trick, as though it was wrong when it was applied to Trump, even though you were part of that course and you were doing it rightly, correctly, because Trump is a fucking fascist. And I
He
was
bickered
fucking-
with Anna on air.
Yes,
over,
you had this
over
whole
the-
debate with
yeah.
Anna, where Anna's like, I don't even know what a fascist is these days. And then she
You
had
can't be a
this number-
fascist if you don't succeed.
By the way, is there a bigger snowflake? I know that the MAGA people are probably bigger snowflakes than all the left, except for Anna Kasparian. Anna Kasparian cannot take a single word of criticism. And I remember very strongly how much she was mauled in on Twitter after Cenk destroyed her on the term fascism and whether it applied to Trump or not. And now he's pretending like it's a cheap trick that they applied to Bernie just like we did to Trump.
They do the same thing to both of us over and over again. So the left-wing populists are ready, but we do need some more votes from people who used to be in the establishment Democratic camp. And why were they in that camp? Because they
were
love
lied to.
corruption, they love war, they love change. No,
No.
guys.
They
They
were
were in
lied
that
to.
camp because mainstream media lied to them.
Yep, by the donor
And
class
the
and the
mainstream
mainstream
media
media.
told them, Bernie
Biden
can't
was all
win.
right.
Bernie was up by 12 points on election day in 2016. They said, he's radical. And they called you guys radical and said you couldn't win. They call us radical and say we can't win. But they're wrong. They're lying. So what I need Democrats to understand is stop believing in Morning Joe and The View and all the garbage on TV.
Yeah, but start believing in Tim Pool
yeah.
and Steven Crowder and Charlie Kirk and
Patrick Bet-David.
yeah.
So that's a really good point about the media ecosystem. You guys are, without a doubt, the most popular, progressive, over-the-top,
No,
non-mainstream
he gets
media
a pat on the
sanction
head.
Yeah,
he
there
gets
you
a
go.
pat on the head
Yeah.
from Charlie.
community. Is that fair to say?
Oh, wait. Oh, my God. Okay. And you're going to see Charlie. It sounds like he's doing. So earlier, somebody said this is the whole point is to build rapport, right? So Charlie is doing the thing now. I mean, we'll see if he can do this. He's not building rapport with the left. He's not building rapport with all the progressives. He's building rapport with Cenk, just his network, just his channel.
But how gracious
You guys
of Charlie to do this, right?
Yeah.
How sweet of
are,
him. I mean,
without a doubt,
Yep.
the most popular, progressive, over-the-top, non-mainstream media sanctioned community. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, 27 million subscribers, 30 billion
Funded by
views.
Peter
I think it's
Thiel.
No, I'm not
True.
saying that sarcastic. I don't know of anyone that comes close. However, do you think there's a robust alternative media ecosystem on the left that is comparable to what's built on the right? I could say confidently what we have on the right is pretty impressive. We have from podcasting to videos. We don't rely on cable television. Who here listens?
We don't rely on cable television. Only Republicans
Kill
can do this. Only Republicans can do
me.
this. Only Republicans can do this. It's like a high school boxing match where one guy trains for 1 hour a week and the other dude trains for 30 hours a week. And the guy that trains for 1 hour a week wins the boxing match. And he says the whole time it's because he worked harder, except the guy that trained for 40 hours a week or whatever is 18 because he's in high school. And the other guy's 45 years old. Okay. It's like the most ridiculous fucking, like, how can you say that, like, yeah, you know, we control all these other areas except, you know, for cable, obviously. We have literally the largest, maybe the largest cable news media channel, maybe in the world. Well, maybe China or India or whatever, like something, you know, but like.
Certainly in America.
Well, I'm pretty sure Fox News is larger than any individual news channel in all of Europe, right? But I'm just saying because of the populations between and each other. Yeah.
It's the podcast or social media for all your news. Raise your hand. I mean, every single hand goes up. So do you think the left has some work to do in developing over-the-top media to be able to bypass the main network?
Yeah, so we have TYT as a giant network, but we have a lot of great progressive and populist shows that are not part of TYT. That's in the left-wing ecosystem. So I don't think that that's the issue. I don't think that there isn't enough shows. I think that there's a couple others. One, on the right, you guys do a great job of coalescing.
Good point. That's true. They do a good job at coalescing.
Do a couple of things well. You work together well, and you're more welcoming, if I'm being honest.
Kill.
We're glad
Kamala is welcoming to. Well, I know how he would spin this, but she's welcoming to everyone from Dick Cheney to AOC to anyone who's just like in favor of democracy and being based. And if you disagree, like Chip Roy is a perfect example. He's like, I'm a principled conservative. I don't want to raise the debt ceiling. And Trump's already like, we got to primary this motherfucker. Even though he's a big fucking MAGA Republican. It's insane.
These guys, how do they feel about the Senate races in Georgia? Were they, maybe I'm projecting Hassan's view and the other crazy leftists, but were these guys happy when Warnock and Ossoff won? Or how do these guys feel about, like, obviously, like, Sinema and
Manchin?
Yeah, I wanted to say Hansen. Yeah, Manchin. But this is what I mean. This is what I'm saying. You guys have seen it by this point, right? It's just they're playing in a totally different game. It's college versus NFL. It's 3 downs versus 4. Like, they play a totally different game. They got a totally different set of standards.
And you're more welcoming, if I'm being honest.
We're glad Cenk's here, right, everybody?
Oh my God. Pat my belly, rub my belly.
A lot of people on the left know this as well. If you agree with MAGA 5%, the answer you get is welcome, right?
No.
Come join us, right?
No, this is not 5%, Cenk. This is you showing your hand because you've been conquered. You've been conquered as a man, and you've been conquered as a political entity. And so they know that you're showing your ass and you're showing your belly, and so they're toying with you. That's why they're being so generous to you.
Well, if you agree with MAGA 5%, the answer you get is welcome, right? Come join us, right? On the left, if you disagree 5%, they go, get out of here, you're a right-winger, you're
like, that's what you're doing. Does he not see that? That
a fascist, right? But if you push enough people out and you guys welcome enough people in, eventually you win the popular vote. That's what I warned them about, and that's what happened, right? So, look, I propose simple rules. The 3 rules of the internet. Rule number 1, when we disagree, we fight. There's nothing wrong with that.
Except when it's destiny, except when it's someone who actually disagrees on the left.
Yeah, wait, why does he say this? He shouldn't be allowed to say, you literally dodge. A literal dodger.
Me.
No, rule number 2 is afterwards we must have a beer together, okay?
Unless you're an airline worker.
And rule number 3 is, for God's sake, when we agree, let's unite.
Like, I know that this would probably, like, kill him if he, like, this would shock his soul. But does Cenk realize or not realize that he has more in common, policy-wise, with a corporate Democrat than he ever would with a MAGA Republican? Like, like 9-1, like, run down the policies. And you're going to have more of an alignment with the most shill establishment Democrat, corporate donor-backed, whatever the fuck, right, than you ever would.
Joe Manchin.
Yeah.
Crystal Ball, when Crystal Ball and Cenk had their debate a couple of weeks ago, she even made that point. She said, Cenk, you and I on policy agree probably on 9 out of 10 issues. And she says, the thing is, though, I have much more in common